welcome back to the Tabletop Travel Guide. Today we are doing something a little fun, a little different, hopefully still entertaining for you. We are going to dive into Flavorful Feats today. We're going to take our tour of Galarian and shift slightly to a tour of fun things in Pathfinder.
Well, it's the people of Galarian.
Yeah.
Feats are a representation of the people.
That's
We're
true.
breaking the fourth wall a little bit here.
Yes, when we tried to do our last tabletop lore guide and just see how it was doing episodes every week, it was a little rough to do our normal format on a weekly basis with our other lives. So we figured we'd try a couple different new things and see whether you guys like them, see how they work out.
Yeah.
And we'll, as you can tell, this is not a normal week for our release, but
We just assume that you really miss hearing our voices. And if for some reason this is the very first episode that you are listening to, I'm Sam.
hey, I'm Tyler.
I'm Ryan. Yep.
Yes, and we are your guides. And today, like Sam said, we are going to be recommending some flavorful feats that characters might pick up. So we each brought 2 feats to the table, and we're just going to chat about them.
They're all completely random for whatever whim each of us had, so they don't work together. They don't have rhyme or reason. They're just fun things.
Yeah.
Things we find interesting.
Things we find interesting. Okay, so who wants to go first?
I can go first. Mine's fun.
Okay, go for
All
it.
right. I took the level 1 ancestry feat for skeletons
Oh,
called Collapse.
I...
If you get critted, you collapse into a pile of bones and don't take critical hit damage.
Oh.
And it works every 10 minutes.
Nice. So, like,
Wow.
once a combat, you can just...
Explode into a pile of bones and then pick yourself back up and be like, I'm fine. Nothing bad happened. It barely scratched me.
I feel like that would fit very well in a character that's literally just the Bone Koopa in Mario.
100%. That is how I envision it, is like you get jumped on the head and then it falls apart and then they stand back up and it's like...
Nice.
How many actions does it take to stand back up? Or
It's
put
a reaction to
yourself
fall
together?
apart and then...
Okay.
It's normally one action.
It's
to
one
stand back
action.
up.
You're
Okay.
basically going from prone to standing. So
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
not bad at all. I wasn't sure if it was going to be like also an elaborate puzzle where, oh no, where's my femur? But
I think for flavor purposes, that absolutely happens, and I would describe it as like, yes, I'm wielding my left leg bone for a weapon when I stand up or something. Yes.
I like it.
I do love the skeletons as an ancestry. They just have a lot of cool, fun feats, and I feel like they're for a lot of campaigns. It's hard to shoehorn a skeleton in,
Yeah.
but I like the idea of them.
And it's more, I don't know, we've played long enough. I think it's more fun than like applying the racial template for a skeleton
Yeah,
and taking like a -2 CR hit dice.
Mhm.
This
Man.
is more fun. You can explode into bones.
for anybody who just had no idea what Ryan just said, in previous versions in first edition Pathfinder and also 3.5 and whatnot,
yeah.
they used to have like templates that you would stack onto people. They were kind of like archetypes if you know, in 2e archetypes, but you would just kind of plop based on level adjustments. Like, oh, I'm level 3, but I'm effectively level 5. It was weird.
The best were the ones that were like 10 level adjustment
Yeah.
templates. Like, I'm a level 1 character and also a dragon.
With 10 level adjustments. Nice.
Yeah, skeletons are fun.
Skeleton's fun. Okay. My first one is called Stella's Stab and Snag.
Stella's Stab and Snag.
So this is
I've never heard of this.
I say I
feat.
have no idea what this is.
I actually was looking up a different feat that one of my players has, and this one was kind of the same theme.
Okay.
Sorry, I like this one. So it's a level 6 feat. It's on the Rogue and Swashbuckler class feat list.
Well, that's why I've
Okay.
never played a rogue in 2e.
Yeah. And technically you have to be in the Pathfinder Society to access this feat, but
Oh,
you know,
that's why I don't know what it is.
yeah, it can be reflavored for other campaigns. So basically for 2 actions, it lets you move up to your speed, and at some point during that movement, you make a strike against a creature and then attempt a thievery check to steal something from them.
Oh, okay.
The stab and grab.
The stab and snag.
Oh, but stab and grab rhymes. They really missed an opportunity there.
They really did.
There's alliteration for Snab and Snag.
That's true.
Oh.
Did they want the alliteration or the rhyming?
I prefer a rhyme, but I'll allow it.
A limerick.
Yeah. So I really like this feat because it can kind of be like, it can be done in combat, which is cool. Usually you can't steal things off people.
Right.
But it can also be like even just a good opener, like run in, stab, run out, grab something.
Can you thievery a weapon someone's holding, or is that strictly a disarm?
That's a disarm.
Okay.
But things I've seen, you could like thievery some like a wizard's material components or something.
Or like if
Oh.
somebody had like healing potions,
Yeah.
you could take those and they can't heal themselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you
Or extra items that are giving bonuses, maybe.
see? Tyler's a little bit better with the rules than I am. Can you reverse thievery? If you successfully pass a thievery check, could you plant something on somebody?
Ooh.
It's like the same hand motion.
I don't. That's a good question. I'm not sure if that's part of the rules. As a GM, I definitely allow it.
Like if I was a rogue with the alchemical bombing archetype,
Oh.
I could like sneak bombs onto people
that would be hilarious.
after stabbing them, I
And
guess.
You just want to cover all your bases.
Yeah,
that is under the rule of cool.
sure.
And I would definitely do that. That'd
Sure.
be cool. The thing which ties back to the lore, and I really like the kind of flavor that Pathfinder will have for their feat naming, but Stella's Stab and Snag is named after a Pathfinder Society character named Stella Fane.
Who is presumably a rogue?
She's a swashbuckler.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's a venture captain in the Shackles.
Oh.
And she's shown up in a few of the Pathfinder Society scenarios I've run. I'm not that unofficial, but like in off weeks or whatever, I'll throw them in there. And I really love her character. She's like a pirate who's like super cunning and competitive and just like despises the Chilaxian government. And so she's just like in the Shackles and goes out and just like makes things difficult for like Chelish Navy.
Wonderful.
And one of the scenarios we were playing called Port Peril Pub Crawl, which is also a good alliteration.
That's a good alliteration, yeah.
The players have to like find her at one of 3 bars to like give her some information. And so you like,
It sounds like Kevin's bachelor party
yeah, I think we played
That's a deep cut.
that no one will understand.
That's not good. No one's going to know what that is.
Nope. Anyway, Kevin's our friend. It's a thing. Anyway, we actually played this one while you were in the play last year,
Aww.
Sam. So you weren't part of this,
I
but
think I remember hearing you talk about it though.
yeah. So she like the players like investigate and figure out what bar she's at, and then they like go to meet her. She like gives them the information that they need, and then she stands up and says something like, "Well, we can't be too inconspicuous," and just starts a bar fight and then pieces out.
Love it.
And so then you just get like left holding the bag of a bar fight. Anyway, Stella's Stab and Snag. I love the flavor of this, and I think it's great.
Big fan.
Big fan.
I like
Big
it.
fan. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I chose my feats as favorite feats that I have used with
Ooh,
characters.
Okay.
So we'll get a little bit more specific
We
about how
had-
they were used.
We had no criteria on this episode. I said,
We all kind of went different ways. I like this.
yeah, I said pick 2 feats, and we'll just talk about it.
So my first one that I chose was Whirling Throw, which is a monk feat. You can
I know.
you can
I
do
know
level
exactly
6.
where this is going.
So it's level 6 as a monk feat, or if you take the wrestler archetype, you can also get it at I think 8. So when I used it, my character was a monk, but essentially what it lets you do is if you have somebody grabbed, you can then throw them base 10 feet plus 5 times your strength modifier. So depending on how strong you are, you can chuck people like super far. And then they'll take bludgeoning damage, depending on how far you chuck them as well. If it's like a crit success, they land prone. So super fun. The reason I chose this feat is because was this Ryan? Was this your
It was
campaign?
Ryan's
This was Tyler's. This was basically Tyler's loyalty quest.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. We were in a forest in like essentially a giant tree house.
We were in the Fangwood.
We
Yeah.
were in the
Yeah.
Fangwood.
We haven't
That's
gotten
right.
there yet.
And then we encountered baddies up in this tree, and so naturally my monk just used Whirling Throw to chuck people off of the tree.
Ryan had this fight show up, and Sam just went first. And he goes, "Oh, you're running right in there." And she goes, "Yep, I do it." And toss, and he goes, It's like crumpled up the enemy
Yeah.
paper. and just-
Yeah, this is one of those things as a GM, you're like 50% so proud of the players because that's such a great solution, and 50% like, dang it!
I didn't think about the ledge.
No, they don't have a fly speed. Oh, they're up 200 feet up. Yeah, they're dead. They're dead.
It's all right.
gone.
After this, they will all know that they need to build nets around these trees for this very situation.
Yeah.
We are
In
helping
Ri-
them with safety compliance.
In Ryan's defense, he did try to push my character off a ledge later, but I was a druid who could turn into a bird, so.
Yes, you all actually had mitigation
Yeah.
against falling hundreds of feet to the ground. That creature did not.
Nice. Yeah. Whirling Throw is just, I just love it goes back to Mario. I just think of Super Smash Brothers Mario. We're just,
chuck him off.
It's like also just great in combat in general because if you need to move baddies around if they're too clumped together, like
Yeah.
it's a great mechanic to be able to rearrange the battlefield too.
I think that in general, that session was the closest I ever came to crushing you emotionally, Tyler.
oh, that was rough.
Tyler's character, like the way it was set up, he had like, that was his druidic order there. And I hand delivered letters to his house that were all like postmarked in the past. So Tyler had like 6 pieces of mail explaining the downfall of his druidic order.
Well, so the real biggest problem for that was I thought I read all the letters, but I missed the last one, which
Oh
was
my
the
gosh.
most important.
Which was so on.
So for like 4 sessions, Ryan's like, "Did you read the letters?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes,
Okay.
"And any thoughts?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it was cool. Like it was cool hearing from my creator." I was a Leshy, so it's like my druid mom. It was cool. And then like we get a notification like, "Oh yeah, the forest is on the verge of collapsing." And I'm like, "What?" And I like find the letter that I forgot, and it's basically like,
Send help.
I'm like, "Oh, I made a mistake." Yeah. Anyway,
It was great.
it was good.
I was so mad and so proud. That was such a funny moment. That was great.
Okay,
I think
Ryan.
that's the most proud I've ever been of like a combat maneuver. I was like, wait, I have a thing.
It was so good.
Nice. Okay,
All
Ryan,
right.
what's your second?
My second one is, so this is for your campaign currently, Sam.
Okay.
This is the entire reason I built this character.
Oh, geez.
Targeted redirection.
Okay.
So this is a sniper duo dedication feat
Ooh, yes.
Ooh.
where you intentionally...
What level?
Level 6.
And what's Sniper Duo?
So sniper duo is you pick another player and you are like best friends in sniping. So I have a ranger and then Chad, who we will likely make an appearance here soon.
Yeah.
Chad is my sniper duo cleric friend.
Yes.
So right now, like early level sniper duo, they just like help you see things. But starting at level 6, you shoot at your partner and then they like bounce the arrow or bullet off their shield to hit the enemy.
What?
So you can like shoot around cover. This is the plan, Sam.
Oh my gosh. Wait, it's like basically playing pool with your
100%.
Yes.
party. Oh my gosh.
So Chad's up front, his cleric, heavy armor, big tower shield, enemies behind a wall. Chad stands to the right of the wall. I shoot at
You're
Chad.
just going to bank it.
and I bank the shot into the enemy.
Man.
Well, now I'm kind of sad that I know that because I feel like when you get the chance to do that in combat, I would have just lost it if I did not
I
know.
shoot at
So-
Chad. You what?
I mean, it is an action, so you have to like call your shot basically, but it's almost like Marvel movie of like, hey, look out. And then he like, we put the plan into action and the shield goes down and then the next action is to shoot.
It's just like following the rules of billiards
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the corner pocket.
Call
You
the
have to
shot.
call it.
Call the shot. So I'm very excited to use this in the future.
That goblin in the face with the corner Chad.
I'm just sad I can't call shots in Pathfinder. I can't call body parts, sorry.
Yeah, we're not GURPS.
Yes, this is not GURPS.
Paizo, figure it out. Nice. No, I like that. I love so many of the guns and gears archetypes.
Oh yeah, it's not optimal.
No.
It makes way more sense to just shoot arrows more times. But I want to shoot an
But
arrow
this is
at
fun.
This is way more fun.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Way more flavorful.
Yeah. Okay, so my next feat, one thing I tend to do when I build my characters, I will tend to create my backstories based on the feats I pick.
Okay.
So I generally will
Tyler builds first, stories later.
Yeah,
Sure.
I will like pick a kind of feat I like. I'll kind of flesh out my backstory based on what he can do.
Sure.
Because I used to be very terrible at backstories, but this is kind of how I figured it out. So I picked Drain Emotion, It's a level 9 feat that I think was in the Impossible Lands book.
Okay.
And it's an ancestry feat that can be picked by any ancestry, provided that you have the prerequisite is you need Fey influence. So there's
which is easy to get.
Yeah, there's like Fey touched for all, like all the different ancestries. So provided you have some sort of Fey influence, you can take this feat.
Sure.
And it's a 2-action feat that lets you touch an adjacent creature and attempt to draw out its excess emotion, which mechanically lets you basically counteract an emotion or fear effect affecting that creature. So if they're frightened, you can like tap them and try to counteract the fright.
You can like suck out their fear. Okay.
Yeah. And if you succeed, you gain temporary hit points.
Oh, so you gain like energy off of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh,
So I read
nice.
this feat, and the first thing I thought of was like, I got a cool idea for a character I would build around this feat.
Sure.
Like I said, the feat by itself is fine, but I would love to make a Fey-touched gnome for this feat.
Okay.
And so the reason in my head, it would be really kind of interesting to me to explore the idea of a gnome that's trying to fend off the bleaching. So I think we've talked about it before, but basically the like gnomes need to keep going on adventure and enjoying and like having new experiences, or they can literally die. They like basically get drained of all color.
Like die of boredom. Kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. Or best case, they turn into a thing called a bleachling.
Yeah.
So I liked the idea of a support gnome that basically drains the emotion of others to fend off the bleaching.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. And I'm like, I think it, obviously it's meant for a helpful thing. Like it's an aid to your party.
Sure.
But I also kind of like the idea of like an evil gnome that inflicts emotion effects on things and then drains that emotion out of them to like kind of suck out that emotion.
Like makes a battery of emotion.
Yeah.
See, this gets my DM.
I know, right?
I could make a whole dungeon about this, Tyler.
I know. So I saw this feat and I'm like, ooh, that'd be a cool
dozens of critters in cells, all experiencing different emotions.
And then
all for the mastermind to come by and suck out those emotions.
Ooh.
Yikes. See, and I'm over here thinking, wow, this would be really helpful because fear is a great spell that everybody should have if you have access to it. So everyone's scared all the time. This could be so helpful.
True. I mean, and it could be too. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously I think it would be cool to explore the evil side of it, but it's obviously meant to be a good thing. And you could still play that character with like a support cleric who...
Well, and you can put nuance in it too,
Yeah.
so you can kind of go a lot of directions, which is neat.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my second feat. And like everything else, I'm like, ooh, I want to play this character now.
The Dungeon of... I don't know. This is interesting. I'm going to... This may make an appearance at some
The glass
point.
cage of emotion.
Oh, yeah. See, something like that. This might make an appearance. This is interesting.
Okay. Sam, what's your second?
All right, so my second feat is Sculpt Shadows,
Okay.
which is a level 9 feat for fetchlings. And I don't know that we have talked about the fetchling ancestry yet. Or did we touch on
We
it?
have the shadow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and when you talk about shadow plane.
Okay.
And-
Yes. So fetchlings are from the shadow plane.
Yep.
So this
the
is
Netherworld.
from
The Netherworld,
Remaster.
yes.
That's right. Sorry. So this is from my character who is a fetchling magus and then does... That character is so ridiculous. I'm like, how do I explain this character? Who also has like a lore master archetype, whatever. But anyway, does a lot of the shadowy, magic-y things. So what Sculpt Shadows is it's a utility feat, but it allows you to take some of the shadows and shape them into a simple weapon, a simple tool, or item with the shadows. You have to use a hit point to do it,
Okay.
but then it's a level 0 common item that you can use for whatever you need.
That's so cool.
So it's helpful in a pinch.
Yes.
So if you're in a dungeon and you're like, oh, okay, I need to pick a lock.
Mhm.
But if your DM is like, well, do you have thievery tools? And you're like, no, but
I got shadow
I have
tools.
shadow thievery tools.
yeah, so you can use it like that. I mean, again, if you are, for some reason, if you were captured and they stripped you of all of your weapons, but you were maybe like a rogue fetchling, okay, I can create a dagger and have a weapon now. So there's some fun just utility things. Honestly, my character did not use it a ton because I feel like we always had access to like whatever we needed in that campaign. But it's
I'm also a pushover GM.
That's true. Tyler will give you whatever you want.
What is the default length of a coil of rope?
50 feet.
That's one item, right?
If it's a simple, common item, maybe?
You're talking about shadow ropes?
Yeah.
It doesn't say that you can't make a rope.
It's a simple piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Yo, 50 feet of shadow rope.
So there's a lot of cool things
That's
you can do with
sweet.
it.
Could you be a shadow cowboy? You could make a shadow lasso.
With,
You just lasso people.
As long as you have the spell Phantom Steed, and so you have
Oh my gosh!
I'm just saying, I mean, a shadow fetchling cowboy who rides their phantom steed and then like just puts the hand out and
Did we just make a Ghost Rider?
Look into my eyes. Maybe. We might have just made Ghost Rider, yeah.
Or like the
Headless Horseman.
if you're fetchling's I couldn't remember if it was a versatile heritage or not. If you were like a Leshy, a gourd Leshy. With the little pumpkin head, and you had the shadow thing, and you like could pop off the head and be
my gosh.
Headless Horseman. Sorry, this is
amazing. I think that's an amazing find, Sam. Yes.
Nice.
It's just like very obscure, but also just super fun.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that ancestry, though. Like there were some really cool things that I got to do using that one.
There's just so much RP potential in something like that.
Oh yeah. Well, and Tyler like built this whole fabulous backstory for my character that like my character didn't know about because she was like adopted at a young age, and there was all this stuff to uncover. And like at one point, like Tyler's like handing me folders with like files in it, like. It was a masterful move.
This is the one you were texting me about, right?
Yeah. I had a payoff. It wasn't. It was semi-related to that, but I had a like payoff surprise like a month and a half in the making, and I suck at keeping things to myself. So I'm like, I have to tell somebody about this plan.
Yeah.
I told Ryan, and then it paid off so deliciously.
It was so good though, because I'd get like play-by-play updates while you were a GM. Be like, they're going to the thing. They're talking to the person.
They didn't ask any questions, so they just killed him. It was perfect.
Yeah, that was great.
Now everyone is crushed.
Yes. Gosh, I could talk about it. And even talking about these feats, I'm like, ooh, I've thought about this feat. I thought about that feat. But alas, this is all we're going to do for today. So thank you guys for bringing some good feats, having some good discussion. Thanks to our listeners for checking this new Tabletop Finds series. I don't know.
I mean, it's basically we talk about war stories. I don't know. That's what that kind of felt like.
That's true.
Well, hey, maybe we've inspired some characters or just some people to look in some different places for character building. So
I'm gonna make Ghost Rider.
There you go.
You should.
I'm gonna make that character.
But yeah, so we'll this is obviously coming off on our normal off week. We'll still have our regularly scheduled guides on our every other Tuesday, and who knows, we'll probably do a couple more of these. We might try some other shorter episodes for the off Tuesdays. So thanks for coming along to the ride, and if you have any feedback, if you have any thoughts about the feats we talked about or the episode, feel free to send us an email at tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Instagram or
send us a carrier pigeon.
Yes.
We do still accept carrier pigeons.
Yes.
We do.
But yeah. So until next week, safe travels, everybody.